Well, hello. Hi, my Manifest Monday family. Hello, my Arise Praying Parent family. I am so excited to be here with you all tonight. It is Dr. Carla, and I am I was going to bring before you, this is Chantelle George with Chantelle George Consulting. She is an education consultant, amongst many other things. Today we are talking College Readiness 101. 101 because we're going to start at the basics. We're going to lay down a good foundation for our fellow students who are looking to make their way into college. We're going to give you info for freshmen, info for sophomores, information for juniors, and information for our seniors so that they can enter into the college world prepared as possible. She has a wealth of information. You know, she kind of reminds me of me because she has like a ton of information and a ton of links for you guys. So we may not get it all in tonight. We'll do as much as we can with some good time allotted. And if we have to come back and give y'all a part two, you know I will. So take this time, my friends and my family, to take a minute and start sharing the broadcast. Let's get it out to as many people as we possibly can, to your friends and family. I'd appreciate it. Okay? So I'm going to do it as well. I'm going to start sharing out the broadcast. And I want you all to do the same. So I pray you guys have had a good week and a good weekend.
Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday. You know, we went back to school on today as teachers. And so we're getting prepared for our students who will be coming on the 24th. And we're going to kind of have some staying home doing virtual. Some are actually coming into the building. So we're just excited to get back. We miss our kids. We really do. We miss them. So we're ready to get back into the groove of things.
Right. Try to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Some type of normalcy is right. So I want to call you Dr. George so bad.
Soon.
I'm serious. You know, we just go speak that into existence. I know it's on the horizon. So I do want to say to my friends and family, guys, if you have any questions, please jot them down. Okay, jot your questions down, because toward the end of, before we wrap up, I'll let you drop a few questions in the chat. Okay, and we'll try to get to them on tonight. Okay. So I've shared it a couple of places. My share is moving slow tonight. Believe it or not.
Yes, indeed. Carla, you want me to go ahead and introduce myself as we...
Oh, please do. You know, everybody knows you already.
As folks are sharing, which we appreciate, we would definitely want to get the word out. Happy to be here with all of you on this Monday evening. Again, I'm Chantelle George, owner, lead consultant of Chantelle George Consulting. I have been in the world of college access and success for about a decade now. And so just really looking forward to the opportunity to share just some tips and some nuggets on how to prepare for this fall semester. As you guys know, our students have been navigating this pandemic. Our educators and counselors have been navigating this pandemic. And at the end of the day, it cannot be a distraction. We have to continue to push forward and make sure that our students are ready to continue the process, to start the process, and looking forward to connecting with as many of you as possible and giving out some good information. We're going to be discussing admissions. We're going to be discussing some financial aid information and just all around resources and things that you can use as you are navigating. If you're a student, if you're a parent, if you're an educator with students, we'll cover all of that in the next hour. So again, excited to be here, currently based in New Orleans, and have really just taken this year and this opportunity to share all of the things that I know, and give it out to folks so that everyone is in the know of as much information as possible to prepare our young people for life after high school.
Awesome. What an amazing introductory. I'm so glad you did that. Yes, yes. So look, we're not even going to delay. We're going to go right into, here's my first question for you. I have, what is college readiness and what is career readiness? Give us a little breakdown of that.
Yeah. So, college and career readiness. I'm sure some of you have heard the buzzwords of what does it mean for a student to be college ready or career ready. And so basically that is a term that is used now to really focus on just the indicators and what needs to be true for students to be ready. And so when we think about the word of post-secondary education, is defined as education after secondary, which is after high school. So that
Yes.
encompasses everything. That encompasses college, community college, technical certification programs. So just the education that students will need to be prepared for the workforce, right? As I like to say, everything is a workforce. Every degree and credential that we're getting is setting us up for the jobs that we need, the entrepreneur opportunities. And so college and career readiness is a term that is used to really figure out what are the indicators, what are the things that need to be true for students to be ready when they graduate and then are on off to post-secondary education. So a lot of times that word is used interchangeably. You'll hear CCR for short, so college and career readiness. But there's an emphasis around both college and career ready, right? So some high schools, some districts, and some states, mostly all states and districts are approaching it differently. But for the most part, folks are aligned to making sure that what do our graduation plans have? What is required of students? How do we know if they're ready? And as we've gotten into this work for years, we realize that it's more than just academics, Carla. It is social emotional skills. It is time management. It is the things outside of academic that students need. It's getting on the ground experience, and a lot of students are getting internships and dual enrollment classes to prepare for life after high school. So that is what we mean when we say college and career readiness.
Awesome. I love that answer. It's very clear and very concise. I think it gives those who have seniors and juniors especially an idea of what do I need to start looking for going forward to make sure that my child is ready for the next level, whether it's junior college or an associate's and or a bachelor's 4-year degree school. So I appreciate that answer. It definitely gives a parent some some direction, honestly.
Right. As a parent, here in Louisiana, for example, we have 2 graduation plans, right? We have top curriculum. So I was a student on TOPS years ago. And then we also have the Jumpstart curriculum. And so as a parent, you want to be aware of which graduation pathway your student is on, right? The top curriculum pathway, there's a certain amount of classes students have to complete to be able to get the top scholarship that's involved with that. There's a certain ACT. I believe it's still a 20 for students to get that for the scholarship. And then the Jumpstart program, which is fairly new to me. And so I've had to relearn the Jumpstart graduation pathway, but it is really a pathway for students that are interested in technical certification programs, interested in the community college, may want to go directly to the workforce after high school. And so some students are on that pathway and they're taking some of the welding classes, some of the technical CTE classes that are available to them. So there's really 2 big pathways. And I would say the website, Carla, the Louisiana Believes website, gives you an opportunity as an educator and a parent to really understand both of those pathways, because students are kind of placed on those pathways, I believe, between 9th and 10th grade. So it's good to know.
They have to have a good idea of which way they want to go.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Right. And so it's good to know, the expectations with those, what classes are needed. And then more importantly, if you're interested in a certain institution, making sure you're on the right pathway to be able to be admissible to some of these institutions.
Correct. And that's one thing we do with our eighth graders before they get to high school, because they're all, everybody's going to play football and everybody's going to play basketball. And then when we start talking about, well, which college are you interested in?
Mm-hmm.
Are what college in Louisiana are you interested in? Have you researched them? And so we'll take an opportunity on a day when we have finished up early, where we can go and we'll go research, what does it take to get into LSU? What does it take to get into UL? There are certain requirements, like you just mentioned, that you have to adhere to. Are you even ready for an application? Do you know what a college application looks like? Do you know what they're asking you? And so, because sometimes they just think, oh, it's like I just walk up on campus like I do now today in elementary and or high school. And so it's a good eye opener for them. And as early as you can prepare them and expose them to colleges, what they offer and that path and what it can lead them to, it puts it on their mind that, hey, this is something I can attain. It's not
absolutely
such a dream, So we being in middle school, we really try to steer them that way. Take a look at that. Don't rule it out, kind of a thing.
Right. And that's great, Carla, because what you just described is like a way to build what we call college going identity. To start at a young age of like, how do you build your college going identity? How do you make sure that students, even starting 7th and 8th grade, really understand what does it mean to go to college? How do you find the institution that you're, thinking about? What is FAFSA, right? Like getting those buzzwords into students and parents' hands early on is so important. And I always recommend for some of our middle school, it's never too late to start talking about college access. Going to a tour in 5th and 6th and 7th grade is ideal. So at least you can start ingraining, what does a college campus look like? What does life look like after high school? And start exposing that to students very early is the recommendation, because what it does is it builds the college going identity, so that by the time they get to junior year, they're like, oh, I already know about FAFSA. Oh, I already know, what it means to start my application, as opposed to it being brand new and they're kind of rushing to try to figure everything
out. You're overwhelmed, and it's like it's too much, and I quit before you get started. And what we're doing is we're planting the seed.
Right.
Seed early,
early on. I remember, and especially for our first generation college students who may not have the luxury of parents who have been to college and may not be just in the know, it's a great opportunity at a young age to start just figuring things out, even going on websites. I'm like, go to the website. Now there's virtual tours on websites. And so there's so much opportunity to figure out, what the college landscape is, even during this time of the pandemic.
Absolutely. So I know you mentioned a little bit about ACT scores, and can you tell what's the difference between an ACT and an SAT?
Yeah, so both are standardized exams that students take to get into some type of institution. And so it really varies, like state specific. So for instance, here in Louisiana, I would say we're an ACT state, meaning that most students take the ACT. That is what most of our public institutions look for. Some of the other states are SAT heavy, meaning students take the SAT to be prepared for those state institutions. So I would recommend, obviously, if you're in Louisiana, you're probably preparing for the ACT. And if you're in another state, you may be preparing for the SAT. They're both comparable exams. I always recommend students to take both. Actually, Carla, I took both as a high school student. It is kind of research has proven around students of color normally do better on the SAT for many reasons. I don't want to go into my soapbox.
I have just recently, I had never heard that. And last year, someone mentioned that to me, and I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yes. And
Yeah.
so it was a credible person. And so I was like, I can't believe I've never heard that before, but definitely signing mine up.
Yeah.
For that.
There is a lot of research around standardized exams. And then we could do a part 2 on that. But the way the tests are written, I was a mediocre test taker, but had a really good GPA. It's just students of color normally don't do too well on the exam, and a lot of it has to do with the way the exam is written. But unfortunately, it is currently still the way to get into a lot of these institutions. The good part about it, Carla, is that many institutions are moving to what we call test optional for fall 2021. So test optional
Praise
means,
God.
which I'm an advocate for test optional.
So God.
Yes, it means that if I'm a student and I'm applying to an institution that's test optional, I have the option to submit my scores. So meaning I don't have to submit my scores. And so kind of on the back end, what that means that for most of these test optional institutions, students will be required to do additional essays, some additional samples of work. So that's why I'm trying to tell students and educators and parents to be prepared for students to be, really great on their essays, take English class very seriously, have your personal statement and your resumes and things like that ready to go, because there's going to be a close eye around additional essays because of the test optional that is going to happen for fall 2021 for a lot of institutions. So it is a shift. A lot of it has to do with the pandemic. I'm hoping that most institutions will keep the policy, because I do believe that GPA, strength of curriculum are better indicators for our students than these exams. But still, study for your ACT and your SAT. Not every institution is going to go test optional. The ACT and SAT exams are both open now. The September dates are available, so definitely go to the testing center online to schedule. Keep in mind that the testing centers will be limited in space because of social distancing. So I'm recommending folks to register as soon as possible so that you have a spot to take those exams.
Absolutely, absolutely. And and look, because I was on the I was on the website this weekend trying to register my senior, and there was something going, it was something technical on their side. So, and I was supposed to do it first thing this morning. So that was a good reminder for me
Yep.
to register when we wrap up this call, so I can get him registered. But I'm definitely going to look into the SAT as well. And I'm sure where TOPS is concerned, that even if schools are test optional, in order to get TOPS, you still have to take the test.
Yeah.
So, just a little heads up. Yay,
Right.
I don't have to take it, but if you want the TOPS dollars, you're gonna have to take it.
And I would recommend, regardless, like I said, some institutions are going test optional. We'll start to accumulate a list of the ones that are, and I'll be able to share that with folks as we start to see who else is going to go test optional. But I would still highly recommend that every student still take at least the ACT, SAT, or both before fall of your senior year. So do not think that this is an opportunity not to test.
Right.
There are, again, test optional will be available, but I would still encourage students to test, even if you're in 9th and 10th grade. Continue to prepare, take those tests as much as possible, because what I've learned and realized, and after working with so many students, is that it's not as much as it's how do you know how to take the exam. And the more practice tests and the more you get acclimated with the timing, the better you are. So still continue to study, still prepare to take those exams prior to your senior year.
Right. I actually found some practice tests for my kids, and so we sit, and we worked on it until, my son reached the score necessary. And I have one more to work with where that's concerned. And we're going to just go back to what we did. We sat down and we worked on timing.
Right.
We worked on timing. How many minutes do you have per question?
Exactly.
And you can't sit and read the entire passage, because by the time you get to the questions, 45 minutes is over.
Exactly.
So then I had to come with test taking strategies, comprehension strategies, So I did some things, with my kid, and I paid a tutor at one time. And I was like, time out, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my coins,
And
and
you did the right thing.
yeah, I'm like, I'm
The
gonna sit
constant, the drill, just keep getting familiar with the exam. And like I said, take it as much as many times as you can. I personally took the ACT 5 times and the SAT once. I started sophomore year in high school, and my score continued to go up. Even I remember going in there 10th grade and telling my mom, like, there's no way I'm going to do well. Like, I am just a 10th grader. I haven't even taken upper level math. But just to start familiarizing myself on the structure of the test was super helpful. Now I am an advocate for students taking it as much as possible. We know it's expensive, and I'll get into waivers, but I would recommend.
Started, I didn't mean to cut you off. We started at freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And they both steadily are increasing, and with each test we were able to see what we needed to do, where we needed to improve. So I'm an advocate for that as well. And I can't wait till we get to that part, because the waivers.
And I have 2 tips, Carla, while we're talking about ACT and SAT. There's two test prep, free test prep resources for folks. One is Khan Academy. It's KAHN.
Absolutely.
Khan Academy, and ACT Academy is another one that folks can really look into to
so
prepare.
ACT Academy is a free resource too?
It is a free resource.
Awesome.
Yep. And then on the actual ACT website, there's a ton of stuff, and I believe there's at least 1 or 2 free practice exams for students to take.
Okay, awesome. So both of those are free resources. And what I'll do is double back in my comments and type in Khan Academy and type in ACT Academy for free resources for tips on taking the ACT exam. So there you have it. Okay, awesome sauce. So look, let's keep it moving. So what do you think? Tell me something. What should a student know and be able to do once they enter into college? I'm a freshman. I'm walking on campus.
I don't know what you expect.
My first year, my first semester.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because I normally have, all the answers to that question. And then now I'm thinking about, with the pandemic, what that means for students in their first year, because it will feel different. It will feel different. Everyone will be in mask, you'll be social distanced. But at the same time, the recommendations are still the same. Getting to know your professor, right? Making sure you're sitting, I always say, in that T zone, right? In the middle little area, so that you really can get the full classroom experience, and then introducing yourself to your professor after class, and start to build that rapport and go to office hours, especially if you're at an institution that has a lot of folks in those classrooms. And so building a reputation and a relationship with your professor is key. At this point, with classes starting in a couple of weeks, you should be already registered for the fall. So if you are not registered, you need to be. So making sure you've completed. Yeah, making sure you're logging into your student portal as much as possible. A lot of information is disseminated through your student portal and your student email address. Because if you think about it, colleges are not going to be calling you right throughout the summer. They're going to be emailing you a lot. So make sure you're constantly keeping a habit of checking your email really daily, because especially with the pandemic, Carla, they're going to be, if things are changing, that's the way they're going to be reaching out to students. So check your portal, check your email, make sure you're registered for classes. At this point, you've probably have completed summer orientation virtually. If you haven't, you need to do that again, because that's where you would have met with your academic advisor and registered for classes. So the big thing is making sure you're registered. I'm telling students to be at least part-time. This is not the time to take a semester off, or take a year off, unless you have a really great opportunity with a gap year. But if not, if you're just going to work, still take at least to classes. Be part-time. You can still qualify for financial aid as a part-time student, but you still want to stay and make sure you're in the groove of
Right.
taking classes.
Right.
So that is my recommendation, making sure that you're registered, making sure your account balance is zero. If you still owe money, if you still see a balance on your account, make sure that you're connected with the financial aid office and that you have aid that's coming in. And if not, that you have signed up for a payment plan, which for the most part, you can do that through the financial aid office or the bursar's office or through your actual portal, because at least that'll give you some time, Carla. It gives students, a couple of weeks and they can push the balance out so that they can still start classes and not have to worry about the balance at the beginning, and then be able to pay it off in installments. So that's kind of more of the technical side. And I would say the other thing is, it's going to feel different because of the pandemic, but still join organizations, get involved, do things with campus life as much as you can. We don't know what sports is going to look like, and you may have sports, you may not, depending on your institution, but still try to find your support system, and your community. And if you're going to live on campus, obviously it's a great way to connect with folks. And if you're virtual, it is still a great way. Zoom, chatting folks and creating your own spaces with classmates is going to be really helpful, because everybody's going to be in this together. So again, like, stay committed. We're hoping we're not going to be in this forever. Still go to class, take it seriously, connect with your professors, meet some friends, and enjoy it, and really enjoy it. The 4 years for me were the best. If I could click my heels, I would go back to college. I'm actually going back for my PhD, but I would go back to undergrad because I really enjoyed it, and I worked really hard at the same time too. So that would be some recommendations for first years: to just stay focused, enjoy it, don't get discouraged by the pandemic, and before you know it, it'll all be back to normal.
Right. This too shall pass. But I definitely agree with, don't come out. Do at least do part time, because life has a way of just sucking you in, and then years will go by and you'll be like, I'm 25, I'm 30, and I'm going back. Not that you can't,
right?
Because you can't. I went back in my 30s, so it's not that you can't, but you have the opportunity to do it now. Do it now. Do it now. It's good. The payoff, and it's okay to delayed gratification. Okay. Be the student and get the degree, and then the funds, the money, the prestige, whatever it is you're looking for that encompasses your degree, all of that'll come. But put the work in here so you can get what you're looking for in the future, and you can have that future that you're looking for. And I'm all about wealth building. I'm all about wealth building, and college is a great way, getting the education you need to secure the job that you want.
Right.
That's going to pay you your worth, and you can begin to build wealth. I'll be able to tell you where to put your funds.
Yes.
So you won't be taken. Okay.
Financial wealth. Yes. All of the things.
Yes.
And I always say there's a difference between, and we'll probably get to it, financial literacy and financial aid. And I'm so happy to know that, even from the high school side, and institutions are now focusing on money management, because I didn't have that as an undergrad. I learned credit card debt in college, and I would have made better decisions now I do as an adult. But, I knew financial aid and Pell Grants and all of that, but I didn't know the other piece of financial literacy that I think we're seeing a lot more now on college campuses and focusing on that, which is awesome, because you cannot accumulate unwanted and unneeded debt, because it will follow you. So it is great to know about financial literacy and financial aid, as you are.
It can be overwhelming. Here you are, you're graduating, you're crossing that stage, you're about to go secure this amazing job that you've worked for, and now you have this big baggage of, student loan debt, credit card debt, whatever. And it's like, I haven't even had an opportunity to live.
Right.
So I'm an advocate for financial literacy for our kids, and because they walk up on that campus and they're coming out of our homes, and you're sheltered. I know I was, and I
Right.
got like, what you mean? I don't even
Have to
understand
work
it.
and pay all this off? Yes.
What? What?
What does that mean?
Yeah, it was an eye opener for me.
Yep.
The mom them had me spoiled. I'm not even gonna,
Yeah.
pretend. But
All of us.
okay. So reality was like, bam, snap out of it, boo boo.
Right.
Okay. as, as a parent and a student, and I think we kind of touched on this, but let's just do a little quick run through. How should we prepare as a freshman, a sophomore? And I think we kind of touched on that right in the beginning when you were saying about the jump start and the different avenues like that. But
Yeah.
there, in each area, whether a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, there are things you should be looking for as a student and things you should be looking for as a parent.
Yeah. So I'll go through each one because I think they'll answer both from a student and a parent perspective. So as a freshman student, you are at the beginning, right? This is the time to, like I say, start strong, because it's if you start with a high GPA, you're in a good situation, because if you're starting with a lower GPA, it is so hard to get your GPA back up. The same thing I would tell a college freshman is like start as high as possible so that you have some wiggle room. So for high school freshmen, um, some of the big things I say is the reading and the writing.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're reading and you're writing as much as possible, because you are preparing for those upper level classes. You are preparing for writing eventually your scholarship essays and your admission essays. So as a ninth grader, as a parent, making sure that your student is taking the classes, the highest level classes that are possible. So if there are opportunities like Gear Up, Upward Bound, any college and career readiness organizations, One Goals, College Possibles, all of these places that are offering opportunities for high school students, making sure that your child is tapping into those support systems. Again, for ninth grade, I would encourage, your English, making sure you're securing your highest GPAs, you're excelling in those classes as a ninth grader. You're going on your campus tours, even at that young age. You're probably, again, it's not too soon to even think about taking the SAT, or at least starting a test prep for SAT or ACT. So those are some of the big parts around freshmen, is like starting to get to know who you are, your reading and your writing, taking your English and math classes seriously, starting to just kind of peruse around college websites. And again, if there are some opportunities at your high school to join organizations that are focused on college readiness, do that. A lot of them are great. I know a lot of them. I've worked for a lot of them, currently do so. So definitely take those opportunities. For sophomores, I have in parentheses, sophomore year is such a big deal. Sophomore year well, they're all a big deal, but sophomore year is really kind of when you want to start. And I would say this resume of like compiling of all of your leadership activities and extracurriculars. You're going to actually want to do that 10th and 11th grade, right? You want to start thinking about, you want to start joining them. You want to start building your resume, doing community service, volunteerism, all of the things that are going to make you a great applicant for an institution. You are going to be doing that throughout your high school experience. And so for sophomore year, join organizations if you haven't done so already. Continue to build your resume. Take the PSAT or the PACT, so the practice exams during sophomore year, taking those test prep opportunities to make sure that you're prepared for junior year. And again, with your English class, making sure that you're getting really good feedback and critiques on your writing, because you're going to be literally preparing for all of this junior year. So if you're a parent, again, the same recommendations apply. because of test optional, again, they're going to be looking at essays and extracurricular, and they're looking at the whole student, which is awesome. They're looking at holistic. So your test score is not the only thing that institutions are looking for. They're looking at your GPA. They're looking at what we call strength of diploma, which is like if your high school has offered honors AP courses, did you take those courses? Like you want to take as many of those upper level honors and AP courses or dual enrollment courses as possible, because that shows that you've taken the highest courses available at your high school. And as we get into 11th and 12th grade, that is going to be key. 11th grade is key, right? Because as you're applying for senior year, that is pretty much the last GPA they're going to kind of see as you're applying in the fall. So junior year, my recommendation, if you're already at this point, you've already joined some organizations. If you haven't, do so. Again, community service, volunteerism, church, all the things that are out there to do. And consider being in a leadership position, right? Consider being a president or a vice president, Carla, because all of those things matter in an application. With 11th grade, also, I have a big thing around what I call college match and fit. And so you'll probably hear that term of like a match or a fit. And that is looking at one, the match piece is around your academic, right? So are you a match for an institution? Do you have the GPA and test scores that institution is looking for? And fit are things like outside of academics, like are you interested in a small liberal arts, or do you want to go to a big football school, or do you want a small Catholic school, right? Are you interested in a school that offers the arts or STEM? And so you're figuring out a lot of that during junior year. And some of the resources that are helpful for both students and parents, CAPEX is one of them. So CAPEX is CAPPEX. It is a website that you can go in there as a parent or a student or helping your child navigate. And it really is just kind of like a robust website to look at colleges, to get information about institutional profiles. So like how much it is to go to this institution, what kind of diversity does this institution bring, what are the class sizes, right? And so recommend CAPEX. College Raptor is another tool that you can use to really look up colleges. College Greenlight is another tool and a website. There we go. College Greenlight is another tool and a website to look through. And all of these are free. So educators can use it, students can use it, parents. And it really just is a college search, Carla. So it allows you to look at colleges from different avenues. There are so many institutions out there, so many community colleges and technical programs. And so match and fit is really a student's ability to say, hey, do I have the academics to match to this school? And is it a fit? Right? Is it a fit? Does it have the things I'm looking for? And so as you're going through 9th and 10th grade, and again, a lot of times you can do this with your counselor or teacher, is like, what are the things I value? Like, I really like science, or I really like engineering, or I'm really into dance and the theater. And so start crafting, like, these are the things I like, because I really hate the question, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I don't think that's the right question. It's more of like, what gives you joy? What do you want to wake up to do? Some students are like, I really want to build apps. I really want to, do graphic design, right? Purpose. And so figuring out, okay, what is the institution or the community college that is a fit for the things that I care about? And you're doing a lot of that, I call soul searching, sophomore and junior year. And some of these resources can help you figure out your path. And again, senior year, it's time to apply. It's time to apply to all of those schools and opportunities. And, for someone like myself, I really took the summer before senior year to do a couple of things, which I would recommend. One was, okay, all of the organizations and leadership opportunities and community service, I literally created my list of like, these are all the things I'm involved in. This is where I hold, leadership positions. That was one thing I did. The second thing was I wrote my personal statement. So going back to junior year, you're really going to want to write your personal statement, which is like, who are you as a person? What's your story? What makes you unique as they're looking at thousands of kids in these application pools? So I started to get really clear on Who is Chantelle? What's her story? What does she want to do in the world? What does she value? And then the third piece was that I got like 3 teachers that I was asking, hey, can you be my person to write my letters of recommendation when I start blitz applying to all of these scholarships? So I would say get your 2 or 3 teachers in your corner early, get your personal statement written. And there's, again, I can give out some resources on personal statements. Niche is a great opportunity for scholarships, but really getting, I would say like Carla, I called it a packet. If you remember when I was in high school, I had my manila folders with my packets, and I had my teachers ready to go. So if a scholarship popped up, I was like, okay, these 3 teachers, like here's my resume, here's my personal statement, because they want to know about you if they're going to write a really good letter, and just kind of having that ready to go going into your senior year. And a lot of it is reuse and use, y'all. Like once you get a really solid personal statement, you can reuse it. You can reuse it. Because a lot of scholarships kind of ask around the same thing. Like, what's your purpose? What do you want to do in the world? What kind of impact have you had? What's your biggest challenge? What have you overcome? So a lot of the same questions are being asked in these scholarship essays. And once you kind of narrow down some of those smaller portions and personal statements, you're able to kind of reuse and use on a lot of those applications for senior year.
Awesome. I think that was like full. I think
that was a lot, team.
That was a lot. But here's what I love about this. You have an opportunity to replay and watch and catch what you didn't catch. And there were so many, I'm like watching and listening like this is all brand new. Well, some of it is still new to me, but so I'm like not paying attention and putting up my links.
You're fine. And I can repeat. I know I said a couple of things. So I'll repeat some of the match and fit resources. So we have capex.com, College Raptor, the College Board itself, collegeboard.org has a ton of resources around choosing college. And then College Greenlight is another one that I've mentioned. There's also one I wanted to talk about that has, so because a lot of, again, with the pandemic, tours are going to be very different. So there is a platform called UVisit, which is YOU Visit, and it is a virtual tour platform. So especially for your younger kids that may be at home, all you need is either your computer or you can actually do it on your phone. And it's UVisit is the website, and you can go in. There's over 300.
.com or .org?
.com. Let me look. Well, we can look it up. It's YOU Visit. It'll pop up once you put it in the like search engine. And what it is, it's like 300 plus virtual colleges that have put their campuses on tours, and so you can really just follow it on the website. You can do it on your app, on your phone, and it's a good opportunity to navigate a campus virtually in this space during the fall. So just another resource that it could be helpful for students of all ages.
Awesome. UVisit.com. I like that.
UVisit. Yep.
Okay, we're for time purposes, because we're wrapping up. We're getting close to an hour. So what I'd like to do, let's see. Well, I know what I want to do, but definitely let's hit this waiver form.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the waiver form and how can they access that?
Yes. So waivers are great. There are waivers for both ACT and SAT, and there are waivers for admission fees. And so first I'll discuss, so let me start headliner. So there's an organization called the National Association of College Admission Counseling, which is NACAC for short. NACAC is like our umbrella organization when it comes to all things college counseling and admissions. On their website, Carla, there is, and I believe I sent you the link, there's a link to a waiver. And so the waiver normally is filled out by either a teacher or counselor on behalf of a student. A student can get up to 4 waivers, so for 4 institutions, and it'll waive your admission application fee for that particular institution. So Obviously, there are parameters for qualifications. Rule of thumb for most of these waivers, if you're a student that is on free or reduced lunch, for the most part, you qualify for these waivers. And then there's also some other stipulations of like if you're in foster care, if you're identified as homeless, and some other indicators that will qualify you for this waiver. But many folks don't know about the waivers that exist. I would definitely look at this website as an educator, as a parent, and a student. There are other waivers even on that website. There's a waiver actually for transfer students, Carla. So students that are thinking about transferring from the 2 to the 4, there is a transfer waiver to kind of waive that application fee. So again, NACAC has waivers available up to 4 schools per student. And normally your teacher, your counselor will fill this out on your behalf. So it's a good point to know where you're thinking about applying to, so that they can get that waiver and you can have those fees waived, because applying to schools is expensive, y'all. The fees can range from $50 to $100 per institution.
Yes.
So if you are free reduced lunch or qualify for these waivers, take advantage of those so that you can waive some of those fees. Same thing with ACT and SAT. And I believe you can find these waivers on NACAC's website as well. They're available to waive the exam fee, or give you a discounted fee on those exams. Again, we know the ACT and SAT are expensive, and especially
Right.
if you plan on taking it more than one time, I would highly recommend that you apply for a waiver, because then you're able to waive those fees and not have to cover the cost of those tests. So again, NACAC is a really great website. Again, it's our I would call our parent organization around college counseling and admissions. And so it's just a website to really kind of spend some time. Collegeboard.org is another website that I would recommend. And so I'm just throwing out some of these like really big organizations that focus on this work, where I spend some time just kind of perusing through the website, because there's a lot of updates, there's a lot of COVID resources, and there's some waiver information as well. So again, waivers are out there. Take advantage of them and cut some of the costs down as you're thinking about testing and admissions.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I certainly hope that this has been truly enlightening for you all. I mean, I've gained new knowledge on some things that I'm going to follow. I have a senior this year. I have a freshman going into college. We are actually taking him off to college next week. My God. And I have a senior. Yay.
Yes, you're almost done.
Oh my God. So I know all of this.
You're in the middle of it.
I'm in the middle of it, and some stuff I know and some I don't. So some of these websites I'm going to go back and kind of, like you just said, peruse and see what I can gather and gain that can benefit my kid who even is going off to college, but benefit the guy who's still here who has his senior year to complete. And then I love to share, like everything you've shared with me. I'm gonna share. I know some of my teacher friends have seniors this year as well. So
yeah,
I'll just share what I know, because I think it's very important that, we're all equipped and ready to help our children succeed at the next level, and get ready and prepared.
I do want to, I know we're almost out of time. There's one thing I wanted to touch on before we hang up, and that's scholarships.
Absolutely.
So a couple things about scholarships. I, was able to go to undergraduate pretty much debt free because of scholarships. They're out there, and I want our community, I want our students to know that there is money available for them. So I just want to throw out a couple of things. Of course, financial aid, the FAFSA opens up October 1. So even with the pandemic, it is going to open October 1 until we hear something different. So just be prepared to have your tax forms from your parents and all of that ready to go to apply for financial aid, to get those Pell Grants that are going to be available based on your expected family contribution. When it comes to the scholarships, some of the big scholarships, so your Coca-Cola, your Gates Scholarship, your Dale Scholars, some of those big ones, they open really early, y'all. October deadlines for a lot of those scholarships. So if you're a senior and you're preparing for the fall in the pandemic and all of that, so start getting, like I said, your personal statements, your essays, your list of leadership activities, your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, some of those big scholarships, especially, and a lot of them are geared towards students of color. And so get prepared, get all of your, like I said, your manila folders and your packets ready to go, because you don't want to miss out on those scholarships that open up very early in October. The other piece I want to say about institutional scholarships, mid-November is a priority deadline for a lot of institutional aid. So scholarships that are geared towards specific institutions. So as you're applying to different colleges, community colleges, do that early in the fall semester of your senior year. You don't want to wait until spring to start applying. A lot of times the money is first come, first serve. So just wanted to reiterate that when it comes to financial aid and scholarships. FastWeb is a website in regards to scholarships. Niche, which is one that we highlighted on the screen, has some scholarship list and opportunities. And then there's a app called Scholly, SCHOLLY, the Scholly app. That's a newer one. But FastWeb was around when I was there, and I would just dissect FastWeb every day and was looking for scholarships. Now there's a Scholly app to look at scholarships. So again, a lot of those will open up very soon in the fall. So again, don't let the pandemic be a distraction. These scholarships are still going to open, and so make sure you're getting yourself ready. If you're a parent, be on these as well with your kids. There's a lot of scholarships. I always say, if you have a freckle, there's a scholarship for you. So be looking out. If you're left-handed, there's a scholarship for you. So again, don't miss out on some of the money that's available, because a lot of it is first come, first serve. So start early September with looking at these scholarships and getting those scholarship applications completed as soon as possible.
Awesome. I know I do want to mention this, Chantelle, before we move forward. I know we had kind of talked, and you're going to bless two of our viewers, two people, with an opportunity to get some free consultation. Consultation. So everything you just heard with her, you'll be able to sit and talk with her for an hour and give her questions pertaining to your situation. Your situation. So I'm gonna type your website so they can contact you. But here's what I want you all to do: inbox me. First come, first serve basis. The first two people who inbox me, I'm going to get your info and I'm going to forward it to her, and you all can connect. And you'll have a one-on-one consultation with her on the direction for you and your college-bound student.
Yep.
I'm excited. So once again, first two people, you'll have an opportunity. I'm trying to type and I'm distracted, so I'm not. Inbox me.
Inbox Carla, and she'll get you guys to meet. And happy to bless you folks and get you on your journey, because time is of the essence. So you don't want to lose time. Now is the right time to get everything together for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Especially if you're going into senior year, it is time to make sure you have everything you need to be successful and to conquer this new wave, this new pandemic, and this new admission cycle that's going to be different for all of us. But it is an opportunity to continue to push forward. Like I say, don't take your foot off the pedal. There's still opportunity, and we should be moving forward and making sure our students are set up for success.
Absolutely. So don't be discouraged, guys. Don't be discouraged. Just take the opportunity. I want you all to inbox me. Like I just said, the first two people who inbox me, I'll get your information and forward it to Miss George, and she will have a consultation with you to assist you and your college-bound student. Or if not a senior, your junior, get you on the path and give you the tools you'll need to succeed. I am just so grateful and thankful. What I want to do also, which we don't have time, we're going to come back a little bit later. Not today, guys, but soon. We're going to come back where we're going to be in in an environment where we can do some, it's a little bit more intimate setting where we can talk, probably on a webinar where everybody will see each other, and then we can have a little one-on-one, and she can go in depth a little bit better on some things, and I know she has a wealth of knowledge. She also has a good rapport with colleges. So there are good connections with colleges across the United States where that could help you match your student. That's what I want to help match your student to the university that would best fit your student.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. That's an awesome opportunity. So I'm looking forward to see who's going to be in my inbox in a little bit. I see somebody's already in there. So I'm going to go see if that's in reference to this. I do want to take this time, Dr. George, to thank you. Thank you so much for coming
on. Thank you for having me. It was great.
Manifest Monday. This was fun. I'm looking forward for us to do this again in the future. Manifest Monday will be back in its regular broadcast on next week, where we are still discussing the promises of God, and so we'll be doing that on next Monday. But we had this window and this opportunity, and I was like, with school about to open, and are about to be ushered into their junior and senior years, I thought it was really, really important for this information to go forth. So once again, I thank you so much. You all be a blessing. Have a blessed week on this week. I will meet you back here next Monday. Same time, same place. Same time, same place. And I want to thank you, Chantelle, for your wealth of knowledge, your time, your sharing with us. I look forward to us being together in the future as well. You have a great evening. Bye, my Manifest family and my.
Bye. Thank you guys for having me.
See y'all soon.